जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम हरे कृष्ण राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 राम राम
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम हरे 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Sri Gautama Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Sri Gautama Hare Krishna Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare
Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna
Krishna Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Rama Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare हाँ
Krishna Hare Hare
आओ
Hare
कल
Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna
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 Hare
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 Rama
Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna
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 Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram Ram Hare
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare
Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Hare Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri
Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna
Jai
Hare
Shri
Krishna
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 Chaitanya
Hare
Prabhu
Hare
Nityananda
Hare
Shri
Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Rama
Ram
Rama
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare
Rama
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
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 Rama
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare
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 Rama Hare
Ram
Rama Rama Rama
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
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 Krishna Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Rama Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Ram
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Rama
Ram
Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Rama Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram
Krishna Krishna
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama
Krishna
Rama Hare 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 Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram
Hare Rama
Krishna
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna
Ram
Hare Krishna
Ram
Krishna Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Rama Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna Hare
Hare
Hare Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare Rama
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Rama
Krishna Hare
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 Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna
Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Rama
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Ram
Hare Krishna
Ram
Hare Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Krishna
Rama
Hare
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 Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Rama
Krishna Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare
Rama
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare
Hare Rama
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
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 Krishna Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna
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 Hare
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 Hare Rama
Ram
Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Hare
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 Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram
Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram
Rama
Hare
Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Rama
Ram Hare Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna Hare
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare Rama
Hare
Rama
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Rama
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama
Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare
Krishna
Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्तवृंद
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. I hope you are all doing well. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Raju Prabhu, mimmali host chesna, I don't know.
Hare
Meera,
Krishna.
Deepa Mataji, మీ ఇష్టం. So you want
మాతాజీ
me?
ఇంకా యా మాతాజీ మీరు చేస్తారా మాతాజీ?
చేయగలను.
ఏం డిపెండెన్స్ లేదు కదా మాతాజీ? మీన్స్ అదే నేను రీడింగ్
2-3 minutes లో ఓన్లీ ఒక డెలివరీ వస్తుంది అంతే, ఇంకేం లేదు.
ఓకే మాతాజీ.
అండ్ నిన్న ఎక్కడ స్టాప్ చేసామో ఐ ఫర్గాట్ టు నోట్ ఇట్ డౌన్. ప్రభుజీ, డు యు నో?
Mataji, then I'll find out and let you know.
Yeah, I think it is 27, Prabhuji, but I'll check.
1 second.
మాతాజీ చేస్తున్నాను మాతాజీ మళ్ళీ పోస్ట్.
నన్ను హోస్ట్ చేసేయండి ప్రభుజీ.
ఎస్ మాతాజీ.
ఈలోగా I'll do the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय पुण्य सादी गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ప్రభుజీ తెలిసిందా?
యా ఒక్క నిమిషం అవుతుంది ఆల్ ద
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ.
చూస్తున్నాను. Hmm. 27 చదివినారు అనుకుంటా మొత్తం. 27
సారీ
హరే
ప్రభుజీ.
కృష్ణ. 27
27
1.15 28 చదవాలి కావచ్చు. 28 కూడా
చదవాలా ఇవాళ?
చూడండి 28 కూడా మీరు సెర్చ్ చేశారు మరి. 28 చదవాలి మీరు. ఎస్ 28 చదవండి.
కరెక్ట్.
హరే కృష్ణ.
థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభుజీ. సారీ.
హరే కృష్ణ. ఐఎమ్ డ్రాపింగ్ ఆఫ్ మాధవి.
Yes, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji's Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sutta Goswami said, thus being deeply absorbed in thinking of the instructions of the Lord, which were imparted in the great intimacy of friendship, and in thinking of his lotus feet, Arjuna's mind became pacified and free from all material contamination. Since the Lord is absolute, deep meditation upon him is as good as yogic trance. The Lord is non-different from his name, form, quality, pastimes, entourage, and specific actions. Arjuna began to think of the Lord's instructions to him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only those instructions began to eliminate the tinges of material contamination in the mind of Arjuna. The Lord is like the sun. The sun's appearance means immediate dissipation of darkness or ignorance, and the Lord's appearance within the mind of the devotee can at once drive away the miserable material effects. Lord Chaitanya has therefore recommended constant chanting of the name of Lord for protection from all contamination of the material world. The feeling of separation from the Lord is undoubtedly painful to the devotee, but because it is in connection with the Lord, it has a specific transcendental effect which pacifies the heart. Feelings of separation are also sources of transcendental bliss, and they are never comparable to contaminated material feelings of separation. Hare Krishna. Samhita Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Arjuna's constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna rapidly increased his devotion, and as a result, all the trash in his thoughts subsided. Purport. Material desires in the mind are the trash of material contamination. By such contamination, the living being is faced with so many compatible and incompatible things that discourage the very existence of spiritual identity. Birth after birth, the conditioned soul is entrapped with so many pleasing and displeasing elements, which are all false and temporary. They accumulate due to our reactions to material desires. But when we get in touch with the transcendental Lord in his variegated energies by devotional service, the negative forms of all material desires become manifest, and the intelligence of the living being is pacified in its true color. As soon as Arjuna turned his attention towards the instructions of the Lord as they are inculcated in the Bhagavad Gita, his true color of eternal association with the Lord became manifest, and thus he felt freed from all material contaminations. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Deepa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sandhya Mataji, Nara.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, please.
Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Because of the Lord's pastimes and activities and because of his absence, it appeared that Arjuna forgot the instructions left by the personality of Godhead. But factually, this was not the case. And again, he became Lord of his senses. Purport. A conditioned soul is enwrapped in his fruitive activities by the force of eternal time. But the Supreme Lord, when he incarnates on the earth, is not influenced by Kala or the material conception of past, present, and future. The activities of the Lord are eternal and they are manifestations of his Atma Maya or internal potency. All pastimes or activities of the Lord are spiritual in nature, but to the layman, they appear to be on the same level with material activities. It is so appeared that Arjuna and Lord were engaged in the battle of Kurukshetra as the other party was also engaged. But factually, the Lord was executing his mission of incarnation and association with his eternal friend Arjuna. Therefore, such apparently material activities of Arjuna did not drive him away from his transcendental position, but on the contrary, revived his consciousness of the songs of the Lord as he sang them personally. This revival of consciousness is assured by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita 18.65 as follows. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evasya satyam te pratijane priyosime. One should think of the Lord always. The mind should not forget him. One should become a devotee of the Lord and offer obeisances unto him. One who lives in the fashion becomes undoubtedly endowed with the blessing of the Lord by achieving the shelter of his lotus feet. There is nothing to doubt about this eternal truth because Arjuna was his confidential friend. The secret was disclosed to him. Arjuna had no desire to fight with his relatives, but he fought for the mission of the Lord. He was always engaged in the execution of his mission only, and therefore, after the Lord's departure, he remained in the same transcendental position, even though it appeared that he forgot all the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. One should therefore adjust the activities of life in pace with the mission of the Lord, and by doing this, one is sure to return back home, back to Godhead. This is the highest perfection of life. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Because of his possessing spiritual assets, the doubts of duality were completely cut off. Thus, he was freed from the three modes of material nature and placed in transcendence. There was no longer any chance of his becoming entangled in birth and death, for he was freed from material form. Purport. Doubts of duality begin from the misconception of the material body, which is accepted as a self by less intelligent persons. The most foolish part of our ignorance is our identifying this material body with the self. Everything in relation with the body is ignorantly accepted as our own. Doubts due to misconception of myself and mine, in other words, my body, my relatives, my property, my wife, my children, my wealth, my country, my community, and hundreds and thousands of similar illusory contemplations cause bewilderment for the conditioned soul. By assimilating the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, one is sure to be released from such bewilderment. Can you scroll down a little bit, Mataji? I forgot my line.
This is your line, Mataji.
Yeah, you're highlighted, right? Yeah, real knowledge is knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, is everything, including oneself. Everything is manifestation of his potency as part and parcel. The potency and the potent are non-different. So the conception of duality is at once mitigated by attainment of perfect knowledge. As soon as Arjuna took up the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, expert as he was, he could at once eradicate the material conceptions of Lord Krishna, his eternal friend. He could realize that the Lord was still present before him by his instruction, by his form, and by his past tense, by his qualities, and everything else related to him. He could realize that Lord Krishna, his friend, was still present before him by his transcendental presence in different non-dual energies. And there was no question of attainment of the association of Lord by another change of body under the influence of time and space. By attainment of absolute knowledge, one can be in the association with the Lord constantly, even in this present life, simply by hearing, chanting, thinking, and worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can see him, one can feel his presence even in this present life, simply by understanding the Adhyajnana, Lord, the Adhyajnana Lord, or the absolute Lord, to the process of devotional service, which begins from the hearing about him. Lord Chaitanya says that simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, one can at once wash off the dust on the mirror of pure consciousness. And as soon as the dust is removed, one is at once freed from all material conditions. To become free from material conditions means to liberate the soul. As soon as one is, therefore, situated in absolute knowledge, his material conception of life is removed, or he emerges from the false conception of life. Thus, the function of the pure soul is revived in spiritual realization. This practical realization of the living being is made possible due to his becoming freed from the reactions of three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. By the grace of the Lord, a pure devotee is at once raised to the place of the absolute, and there is no chance of the devotees becoming materially entangled again in conditioned life. One is not able to feel the presence of the Lord in all circumstances until one is endowed with the required transcendental vision made possible by devotional service prescribed in the revealed scriptures. Arjuna had attained this stage long before on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and when he apparently felt the absence of the Lord, at once took the shelter of the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, and thus again he was placed in his original position. This is the position of Vishoka, or the stage of being freed from all grief and anxiety. Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna.
Raja Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Upon hearing of Lord Krishna's returning to his abode, and upon understanding the end of the Yadu dynasty's earthly manifestation, Maharaja Yudhishthira decided to go back home, back to Godhead. Purport. Maharaja Yudhishthira also turned his attention to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita after hearing about the Lord's departure from vision of earthly people. He began to deliberate the Lord's way of appearance and departure. The mission of the Lord's appearance and disappearance in the mortal universe is completely dependent on his supreme will. He is not forced to appear or disappear by any superior energy, as the living beings appear and disappear, being forced by the laws of nature. Whenever the Lord likes, he can appear himself from anywhere and everywhere without disturbing his appearance and disappearance in any other place. He is like the sun. The sun appears and disappears on its own accord at any place without disturbing its presence in other places. The sun appears in the morning in India without disappearing from Western hemisphere. The sun is present everywhere and anywhere all over the solar system, but so appears that in the particular place, the sun appears in the morning and also disappears at some fixed time in the evening. The time limitation of even of the sun is no concern. Sun is of no concern, and so what to speak the Supreme Lord, who is the creator and controller of the sun. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that anyone who factually understands the transcendental appearance and disappearance of the Lord by his inconceivable energy become liberated from the loss of birth and death, and is placed in eternal spiritual sky where the Vaikuntha planets are. There, such liberated persons can eternally live without the pangs of birth, death, old age, disease. In the spiritual sky, the Lord and those who are eternally engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are eternally young, because there is no old age and disease, and there is no death. Because there is no death, there is no birth. It is concluded therefore that simply by understanding the Lord's appearance and disappearance in the truth, one can attain the perfectional last stage of the eternal life. Therefore, Maharaja Yudhishthira also began to consider going back to God. The Lord appears on the earth or any other mortal planet along with his associates who live with him eternally, and the members of the Yadu family who were engaged in supplementing the pastimes of the Lord are no other than his eternal associates. And also Maharaja Yudhishthira and his brother and mother, etc., since the appearance and disappearance of the Lord is eternal associates are transcendental. One should not be bewildered by the external feature of appearance and disappearance. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Translation: Kunti, after overhearing Arjuna's telling of the end of Yadu dynasty and disappearance of Lord Krishna, engaged in devotional service of the transcendental personality of Godhead with full attention, and thus gained a release from the course of material existence. Purport: the setting of sun doesn't mean the end of the sun. It means that the sun is out of our sight. Similarly, the end of mission of the Lord on a particular planet or universe only means that he is out of our sight. The end of Yadu dynasty also does not mean that it is annihilated. It disappears, although with Lord out of our sight. As Maharaj Yudhishthira decided to prepare to go back to Godhead, so also Kunti decided. And thus she fully engaged herself in transcendental devotional service of the Lord with guarantees, which guarantees one of the passport for going back to Godhead after quitting this present material body. The beginning of devotional service of the Lord to the Lord is the beginning of spiritualizing the present body. And thus, an unalloyed devotee of the Lord loses all material contact with the present body. The abode of the Lord is not a myth, as is thought by the unbelievers or ignorant people, but one cannot reach there by any material means, like a Sputnik or space capsule. But one can certainly reach there after leaving this present body, and one must prepare himself to go back to Godhead by practicing devotional service. That guarantees a passport for going back to Godhead, and Kunti adopted it. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much. I think it's me. Yeah. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Unborn, Lord Sri Krishna, caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. This action was like picking out a thorn with a thorn, though both are the same to the controller. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura suggests that rishis like Saunaka and others who were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Shuta Goswami at Naimisharanya were not happy to hear about the Yadus dying in the madness of intoxication. To give them relief from this mental agony, Sutta Goswami assured them that the Lord caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, by which they had to take away the burden of the world. The Lord and his eternal associates appeared on earth to help the administrative demigods in eradicating the burden of the world. He therefore called for some of the confidential demigods to appear in the Yadu family and serve him in his greatest mission. After the mission was fulfilled, the demigods, by the will of the Lord, relinquished their corporeal bodies, by fighting amongst themselves in the madness of intoxication. The demigods are accustomed to drinking the somarasa beverage, and therefore the drinking of wine and intoxication are not unknown to them. Sometimes they were put into the trouble for indulging in intoxication. Once the sons of Kuvera fell in the wrath of Narada for being intoxicated, but afterwards they regained their original forms by the grace of the Lord Sri Krishna. We shall find the story in the 10th canto. For the Supreme Lord, both the Asuras and the demigods are equal. The demigods are obedient to the Lord, whereas the Asuras are not. Therefore, the example of picking out a thorn by another thorn is quite befitting. One thorn, which causes pinpricks on the leg of the Lord, is certainly disturbing to the Lord, and the other thorn, which takes out the disturbing element, certainly gives service to the Lord. So, although every living being is a part and parcel of the Lord, still one who is pinprick to the Lord is called an Asura, and one who is voluntary servitor of the Lord is called a Devata or demigod. In the material world, the Devatas and Asuras are always contending, and the Devatas are always saved from the hands of the Asuras by the Lord. Both of them are under the control of the Lord. The world is full of two kinds of living beings, and the Lord's mission is always to protect the Devatas and destroy the Asuras whenever there is such a need in the world, and to do good to both of them. Samhita Mataji?
Yes, ma'am. Translation. The Supreme Lord relinquished the body which he manifested to diminish the burden of the earth. Just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation and others. Purport. The Supreme Lord personality of Godhead is neither impersonal nor formless, but his body is non-different from him, and therefore he is known as the embodiment of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. In the Bruhat Vaishnava Tantra, it is clearly mentioned that anyone who considers the form of Lord Krishna to be made of material energy must be ostracized by all means. And if by chance the face of such an infidel is seen, one must clean himself by jumping the river with his clothing. The Lord is described as Amrita or deathless because he has no material body. Under the circumstances, the Lord's dying or quitting his body is like the jugglery of a magician. The magician shows by his tricks that he is cut to pieces, burned to ashes, or made unconscious by hypnotic influences. But all are false shows only. Factually, the magician himself is neither burned to ashes, nor cut to pieces, nor is he dead or unconscious at any stage of his magical demonstration. Similarly, the Lord has his eternal forms of unlimited variety, of which the fish incarnation, as was exhibited within the universe, is also one, because there are innumerable universes. Somewhere or other, the fish incarnation must be manifesting his pastimes without cessation. In this verse, the particular word tatte, eternally accepted, and not the word ditva, accepted for the occasion, is used. The idea is that the Lord does not create the fish incarnation. He eternally has such a form, and the appearance and disappearance of such an incarnation serves particular purposes. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.24 to 25, the Lord says, the impersonalists think that I have no form, that I am formless, but that at present I have accepted a form to serve a purpose, and now I am manifested. But such speculators are factually without sharp intelligence. Though they may be good scholars in the Vedic literatures, they are practically ignorant of my inconceivable energies and my eternal forms of personality. The reason is that I reserve the power of not being exposed to the non-devotees of my mystic curtain. The less intelligent fools are therefore unaware of my eternal form, which is never to be vanquished and is unborn. In the Padma Purana, it is said that those who are envious and always angry at the Lord are unfit to know the actual and eternal form of the Lord. In the Bhagavatam also, it is said that the Lord appeared like a thunderbolt to those who were wrestlers. Shishupala, at the time of being killed by the Lord, could not see him as Krishna, being dazzled by the glare of the Brahma Jyoti. Therefore, the temporary manifestation of the Lord as a thunderbolt to the wrestler appointed by Kamsa, or the glaring appearance of the Lord before Shishupala, was relinquished by the Lord. But the Lord as a magician is eternally existent and is never vanquished in any circumstance. Such forms are temporarily shown to the Asuras only, And when such exhibitions are withdrawn, the asuras think that the Lord is no more existent, just as the foolish audience think the magician to be burned to ashes or cut to pieces. The conclusion is that the Lord has no material body, and therefore he is never to be killed or changed by his transcendental body. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Sandhya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. When the personality of Godhead Lord Krishna left this earthly planet in his self-same form, from that very day, Kali, who had already partially appeared, became fully manifest to create inauspicious conditions for those who are endowed with a poor fund of knowledge. Purport. The influence of Kali can be enforced only upon those who are not fully developed in God consciousness. One can neutralize the effects of Kali by keeping oneself fully under the supreme care of the personality of Godhead. The age of Kali ensued just after the battle of Kurukshetra, but it could not exert its influence because of the presence of the Lord. The Lord, however, left this earthly planet in his own transcendental body, and as soon as he left, the symptoms of Kali Yuga, as were envisioned by Maharaja Yudhishthira prior to Arjuna's arrival from Dwaraka, began to manifest, and Maharaja Yudhishthira rightly conjectured on the departure of the Lord from the earth. As we have already explained, the Lord left our sight just as when the sun sets, it is out of our sight. Thank you, Mataji.
Light mantra. Lavanya Mataji. Sorry.
Yes.
Lavanya.
Yes. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Maharaja Yudhishthira was intelligent enough to understand the influence of age of Kali, characterized by increasing avarice, falsehood, cheating, and violence throughout the capital, state, home, and among individuals. So he wisely prepared himself to leave home, and he dressed accordingly. Purport. The present age is influenced by the specific qualities of Kali since the days of the Battle of Kurukshetra, about 5,000 years ago. The influence of the age of Kali began manifesting, and from authentic scriptures, it is learned that the age of Kali is still run to 4,27,000 years. The symptoms of the Kali Yuga, as mentioned above, namely avarice, falsehood, diplomacy, cheating, nepotism, violence, and all such things, are already in vogue, and no one can imagine what is going to happen gradually with further increase of the influence of Kali till the day of annihilation. We have already come to know that the influence of age of Kali is meant for so-called civilized man. Those who are under the protection of the Lord have nothing to fear from this horrible age. Maharaja Yudhishthira was a great devotee of the Lord, and there was no necessity of his being afraid of the age of Kali. But he preferred to retire from the active household life and prepare himself to go back home, back to Godhead. The Pandavas are eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore they are more interested in the company of the Lord than anything else. Besides that, being an ideal king, Maharaja Yudhishthira wanted to retire just to set an example for others. As soon as there is some young fellow to look after the household affairs, one should at once retire from family life to uplift oneself to spiritual realization. Mataji, can you scroll down? Scroll up.
Yes,
The
Mataji.
Pandavas are eternal companions of the Lord, and therefore they are more interested in the company of the Lord than anything else. Besides that, being an ideal king, Maharaja Yudhishthira wanted to retire just to set an example for others. As soon as there is some young fellow to look after the household affairs, one should at once retire from family life to uplift oneself to spiritual realization. One should not in the dark well of household life till one is dragged out by the wing of Yamaraj. Modern politicians should take lessons from Maharaja Yudhishthira about voluntary retirement from active life and should make room for the younger generation. Also, retired old gentlemen should take lessons from him and leave home for spiritual realization before being forcefully dragged away to meet death. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Laltman Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Translation. Thereafter, in the capital of Hastinapura, he enthroned his grandson, who was trained and equally qualified as the emperor and master of all land bordered by the seas. Perfect. The total land on the earth bordered by the seas was under the subjugation of king of Hastinapura. Maharaj Yudhishthira trained his grandson Maharaj Parikshit, who was equally qualified in state administration in terms of king's obligation to the citizens. Thus, Parikshit was enthroned on the seat of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Mataji, I am getting my own echo here. Why it is?
Prabhuji?
నా ఎక్కువ వినిపిస్తుంది మతాజీ నాకే అందులో ఫోన్ లో నుంచి మళ్ళీ
కానీ మీరు మాకు క్లియర్ గానే వినబడుతుంది.
Okay. Maharaj Parikshit, who was equally qualified in state administration in terms of king's obligations and the citizens. Thus, Parikshit was enthroned on the seat of Maharaj Yudhishthira prior to his departure back to Godhead. Concerning Maharaj Parikshit, the specific word used, Vinayinam, significant. Why was the king of Hastinapura, at least till the time of Maharaj Parikshit, accepted as the emperor of the world? The only reason is that the people of the world were happy because of good administration of the emperor. The happiness of the citizens was due to the ample production of natural produce such as grain, fruits.
No, we are getting echo, Prabhuji.
We are getting. I heard some other speakers. Someone should go on mute. Who else?
Maybe me. Yeah.
Deepa Mataji, can you go to mute?
I'll mute and then you check.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, the happiness of the citizens was due to the ample production of natural produce such as grains, fruits, milk, herbs, valuable stones, minerals, and everything that the people needed. They were even free from all bodily miseries, anxieties of mind, and disturbances caused by natural phenomena and other living beings. Because everyone was happy in all respects, there was no resentment. Although there were sometimes battles between the state kings for political reasons and supremacy. Everyone was trained to attain the highest goal of life, and therefore the people were also enlightened enough not to quarrel over trivialities. The influence of the age of Kali gradually infiltrated the good qualities of both the kings and the citizens, and therefore a tense situation developed between the ruler and the ruled. But still, even in this age of disparity between the ruler and the ruled, there can be spiritual amendment and God consciousness. That is a special prerogative. So, just it is said here that Prabhupada was mentioning there were battles in between. Because everyone was happy in all respects, there was no resentment. Although there were sometimes battle between the state kings for political reasons and supremacy. You see this in the modern history from the past 2000 years. This Oriental history which we study, there are only 28 years of whole 2000 years which was completely peaceful all the world without no war. Where is 2000 years and where is 28 years? Right now, if you see what is the war which is going on, Russia and Ukraine, right? Before that, there were war, Afghanistan. Before that, If you see, continuously it's a place of wars nowadays. But earlier, sometimes war used to happen. Generally, people are normal every day. Hare Krishna. That is how the Kali was advancing. Kali is advancing nowadays.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. So yeah, we stop and we'll read from here tomorrow. We'll start with Brahma Samhita. Prabhuji, yesterday all of us completed the verses. So we can start with this verse, the next 10 set, I think. What do you say?
Okay, Deepa Mataji,
Prabhuji.
I just wanted to share with all of you people one thing, before we commence in the second part of the Brahma Samhita. See,
Yes.
I'm not a person who is, effective, efficient, like let us do things within time and all. It's okay with the time, but are you confident enough reading all the 10 slokas? I'm speaking to everyone, not to one specific one devotee. Are you confident enough that you can do it? Then we'll go ahead. Else, we will try it again. I just wanted to ask, I just wanted to keep my points, my thoughts in front of you, because for me, I'm not an efficient manager. Let me tell you like that. Let me keep it like that. That I should keep things within schedule, and somehow or other I should finish the task from unknown. Let us have an open and heartful conversations. So are you people confident with those first 10 slokas? Then we'll go to for the 10. Next 10, okay? If you feel inconfident or some people feel that we are being, forced or dragged to go ahead, then we will have a look at those things again.
If anybody wants to repeat the first 10, we can do that.
Yeah. Then they can let me know. They can repeat. Else we will go ahead. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody wants to repeat the first 10 shlokas? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, actually, I've done. I think I've done some many mistakes yesterday, Prabhuji. But at the same time, I would not want others to wait for me. Actually,
There's nothing like that.
So I think that is my opinion, my view, Mataji. So I think we should. That is what I think. We should go with 10. I'll maybe probably I'll take up 1-to-1 with Prabhuji and all. Or if you can, somebody send the one voice this thing. I'll practice last 10. That is my this thing.
I'm sorry from my part, Prabhu. I couldn't send it yesterday because I'm completely, engrossed in the bank activities and all. I'm sorry, but I will do it sooner or later today, Prabhu. Okay. But let us be clear. Let us go together. Okay. If you can do it now, you can do it. There is no issues.
Yeah, there
Yes,
is no
Prabhuji,
problem.
you can do one more time today also, Prabhuji. So you'll get practice. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
I hope people are matured enough here to understand others' shortcomings and all, and we'll go together. No issues to drag, or complete it or finish it.
Yeah. There is no target. There is no shloka test also. So we can go that way, Prabhuji. You want to repeat the first 10, you can repeat, and then we'll start with it. Anybody else also, if you want to repeat, please tell. We can repeat. There is no problem. In fact, we can do this again today also. There is no harm.
Yeah, yes.
Because we'll have time only for some 2-3 devotees doing 10 each. So whoever wants to repeat can please repeat. No problem. Even if you feel that I know everything, even then you want to repeat, there is no harm. These are just prayers anyways. So
yeah, that's the theme of it. Okay.
yes,
Not finishing the targets, but getting confident enough doing it. Okay.
Okay, I'll start repeating, Mataji.
Please go ahead, Prabhuji. And what is it? Deepa Mataji, you can please, correct him or guide him. More than correct him, you can guide him.
Yeah,
wherever he is,
if there is any pronunciation, I'll correct.
Yes, please do it, Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Okay. Shri Brahma Samhita. Yeah. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Chintamani Prakara Sadma Kalpa Vriksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabhi Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sahasrasata Sambrama Sevayamanyam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
हाँ प्रभुजी ఇక్కడ చింతామణి ప్రకర సద్మసు
Sadmasu.
సో మీరు ఏం చేయొచ్చు అంటే వాట్ యూ కెన్ డూ ఇస్ వెన్ యు ఆర్ రీడింగ్ నో యు పుట్ యువర్ ఫింగర్ ఆన్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ వర్డ్ and read each word slowly, it's okay, but in tune. Like if you want to take some time and read it, no, then also you can do it. But when you read each word individually, then what will happen is that you will not make the mistake of skipping any letter. So Chintamani Prakara Satma Sukalpa Vriksha. Going slow also is okay. You just have to be in tune ante. Ali లక్ష అంటే ప్రతి వర్డ్ కింద అది ఫొనెటిక్స్ చూసుకోండి. లక్షా వృత్తేషు సురభీరభిపాలయంతం అంటే wherever there is a dirgham also you can spend time there and you can do that way. That is a easy trick to actually get it right. Lakshmi sahasra shata sambhrama sevyamanam గోవిందమాది పురుషం తమహం భజామి. ఇలా ట్రై చేయండి.
ఓకే. చింతామణి ప్రకర చింతామణి ప్రకర సద్మసు కల్ప వృక్ష లక్షావృతేషు సురభి అభిపాలయంతం లక్ష్మీ సహస్రశత సంభ్రమ సేవయమాన్యాం సేవ్యమానాం గోవిందమాది పురుషం తమహం భజామి.
ఇంకోసారి చెప్పండి రాజు.
చింతామణి ప్రకర సద్మసు కల్ప వృక్ష లక్షావృతేషు సురభి అభిపాలయంతం లక్ష్మీ సహస్రశత సంభ్రమ సేవయమానాం గోవిందమాది పురుషం సమహం భజామి. వేణుం వనంతమరవిందదలాయటాక్షం బర్హావతం సమసితబుధ సుందరాంగం కందర్పకోటికమనీయ విశేష శోభం గోవిందమాది పురుషం తమహం భజామి. ఆలోలచంద్రకలసద్వనమాల్యవంశీ రత్నాగదం ప్రణయకేలికలావిలాసం శ్యామం త్రిభంగలలితం నియతప్రకాశం గోవిందమాదిపురుషం తమహం భజామి.
Just Ratnangadam. That N went missing. Yeah, just you read word by word, put your finger onto each word and you do it properly, then you can actually get it. You want to do it again? Alola Chandra.
Alola Chandra.
You can say Alola Chandra Kalasad. Kalasad oksari and Chandra oksari.
Alola Chandra Kalasadvanamala Vamshi Ratnangadam Pranayakeli Kalavilasham Shamam Trimangalalitam Niyataprakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sad ujjvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Advaita achyutam anadim anantarupam आद्यं पुराणपुरुषं नवयौवनं च वेदेषु दुर्लभम् आत्मभक्तौ गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
దుర్లభం అదుర్లభం రెండిట్లో
Yeah, दुर्लभम
ఉంది.
opposite. पंतस्तु कोटि शतवत्सर संप्रगम्यो वायोरतोऽपि मनसो मुनिपुङ्गवानां सोऽपि अस्ति यत् प्रपदसिम्नि विचिन्ततत्वे गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Raji, I'll tell line by line. You can repeat after me each line. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo.
Pantastu koti satavatsara sampragamyo.
Sampragamyo.
Pantastu koti satavatsara sampragamyo.
Vayorathapi manaso munipungavaanam.
Vayoratapi manaso munipungavaanam.
Sopyasti. చెప్పండి.
Sopyasti
యత్ ప్రపద సీమ్య విచింత్య తత్వే
सीम्य विचिन्त तत्वे सोऽप्यस्ति यत् प्रपदसीम्य विचिन्त तत्वे सोऽप्यस्ति यत् प्रपदसीम्य विचिन्त तत्वे
సీమ్య ఒక వర్డ్ విచింత్య తత్వే
పంతస్తు కోటి శతవత్సర సంప్రగమ్యో వాయోరతాపి మనసో మునిపుంగవానాం సోప్యస్తి యత ప్రపద్దసిమ్య విచింత తత్వే గోవిందమాదిపురుషం తమహం భజామి.
మళ్ళీ చెప్పాలంటే చెప్పండి. పంథాస్ అది
పంథాస్తు కోటి శతవత్సర సంప్రగమ్యో వాయోరతాపి మనసో మునిపుంగవానాం సోపి అస్తి యత్ ప్రపదసిమ్య విచింత తత్వే గోవిందమాదిపురుషం తమహం భజామి.
ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్.
एकोऽपि असौ रचितं जगदण्डकोटिं यक्षक्तिरस्ति जगदण्डचायधन्ता अन्धान्तरस्ततः परमाणौ चयान्तरस्थं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Here only second line, Prabhuji, we need to correct. So ekopyasau rachayitum jagad. So anda ante d kinda dot vaste appudu da avutundi. Otherwise we have to pronounce it as jagad anda kotim. So ekopyasau rachayitum jagadanda kotim yat shaktirasti jagadanda chayayadanta.
एकोऽपि असौ रचयितं जगदण्डकोटिं यक्षक्तिरस्ति जगदण्डचदायधन्ता अन्धान्तरस्ततः परमाचयान्तरस्थं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. यद्भावभवितो धियो मनुजस्तथैव सम्प्राप्य रूपमहिमा सनयानभूषा शक्तिर्यम् एव निगमः प्रतित्ययत स्तुवन्ति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
ఇక్కడ సూక్తేర్. సో ఇక్కడ ఊ ఉంటుంది, యు ఉన్న చోట యద్భావ భావిత ధియో మనుజాస్తథైవ సంప్రాప్య రూప మహిమాసన యానభూషా సూక్తేర్యం eva nigama prathitai suvanti govindamadipurusham tamaham chami. Malli cheppandi.
यद्भाव भवितो धियमनुजस्तथैव सम्प्राप्य रूपमहिमा सनयान भूषा सूक्तैर्यमेव निगमप्रथितैव स्तुवन्ति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Yes, Prabhu. అంటే అంతే మీరు అలా స్లోగా చెప్తూ ఉండండి వచ్చేస్తుంది. నెక్స్ట్ వన్.
आनंद चिन्मय रस प्रतिभा विताभिस्ताभिर्य एव निज रूपतया कलाभि गोलोक एव निवसति अखिलात्मभूतो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Wherever any word ends in Y, Prabhuji, just mix it with the next word. Nivasatya akhilatma bhuto. Atla. Nivasatya. ఇంకా అది ఈ ఉండదు అనమాట. ఇట్ గెట్స్ మిక్స్డ్. ఎనీథింగ్ విచ్ ఇస్ ఎండింగ్ ఇన్ వై యూ నీడ్ టు డూ దాట్. మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి చెప్పండి.
आनंद चिन्मय रस प्रतिभाविताभिस्ताभिर्य एव निज रूपतया कलाभि गोलोक एव निवसति अखिलात्मभूतो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
గుడ్.
प्रेमाञ्जनचूरित भक्तिविलोचनेन सन्ता सदैव हृदयेषु विलोकयन्ति यं श्यामसुन्दरमचिन्तं गुणस्वरूपं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं समहं भजामि. रामादिमूर्तेषु कलानियमेन तिष्ठान् नानावतारमकरोद भुवनेषु किन्तु कृष्ण स्वयं समभवत् परमः पुमांयो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
Okay, bro, is far better than yesterday. And thank you, Deepa Mataji, very much for guiding me. So, will anyone go ahead with 40 to 49 now?
Anybody wants to repeat the first 10 again? Please చెప్పండి ఏదైనా ఉంటే ప్లీజ్. Yes, no.
No, Mataji, we'll do from 40.
Okay. Okay. So let's
Thank
do
you,
it.
Mataji.
Thank you, Prachini. Yes, ఎలా సంయుక్త మాతాజీ చేస్తారా?
Yes, Mataji. Shri Brahma Samhita 5.40. यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदण्डकोटि कोटिष्वशेष वसुधादि विभूति भिन्नं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमनन्तमशेष भूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. माया हि यस्य जगदण्डशतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेद वितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्व विशुद्ध सत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. आनन्द चिन्मय रसात्मतया मनस्सु यः प्राणिनां प्रतिफलं स्मरताम् उपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयात्यजस्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. गोलोकनाम्नि निजधाम्नि तले च तस्य देवी महेश हरिधामसुतेषु तेषु ते प्रभावनिचया विहिताश्च येन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि क्षीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते न हि तथा पृथगस्ति हेतो यशम्भुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि दीपार्चिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवृतहेतुसमानधर्मा यस्तादृगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यः कारणार्णवजले भजति स्म योगा निद्रामनन्तजगदण्डसरोमकूपा आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमथावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णुर्महान् स इह यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि भास्वान् यथाश्मशकलेषु निजेषु तेजा स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयत्यपि तद्वदत्र ब्रह्मा ययेष जगदण्डविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि
Wonderful, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sandhya Mataji chestara?
I'll do after one person, Mataji. Actually, my son.
Okay, Mataji. Lavanya
I'll do
Mataji.
after one person. After Lavan Mataji, I'll do.
Okay, Mataji.
Yes, ma'am. 40, right? Text 40, right, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Brahma Samhita, spoken by Lord Brahma to the Supreme Lord Govinda. Text 40. यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदण्डकोटि कोटिष्वशेषवसुधाति विभूतिभिन्नं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि माया हि यस्य जगदण्डशतानि सूते त्रैगुण्यतद्विषयवेदवितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वविशुद्धसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि आनन्दचिन्मयरसात्मतया मनस्सु यः प्राणिनां प्रतिफलं स्मरतामुपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयत्यजस्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि गोलोकनाम्नि निजधाम्नि तले च तस्य देवी महेश हरिधामसुतेषु तेषु ते प्रभावनिचया विहिताश्च येन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका चायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि क्षीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते न हि तथा पृथगस्ति हेतो यशम्भुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि दीपाचिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवृतहेतुसमानधर्मा यस्ताग्रुगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि यः कारणान्नवजले भजति स्म योगा निद्रामनन्तजगदण्डसरोमकूपा आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यस्यैकनिश्वसितकलामतावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णुर्महान् स हि वयस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। भास्वान् यताश्मशकलेषु निजेषु तेजा स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयत्यपि तद्वदत्र ब्रह्माय एष जगदण्डविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। థ్యాంక్ యూ మాతాజీ. హరే కృష్ణ.
మాతాజీ ఒక్కసారి 48 ఫస్ట్ లైన్ చదవండి మాతాజీ.
అదే అడుగుదాం అనుకుంటున్నా. యాక్చువల్లీ నేను అది అబ్సెంట్ ప్రభుజీ, ఒక్కసారి చెప్పరా?
అది కాలం మాతాజీ, కలాం అన్నారా?
ఓకే ఓకే.
యస్యైకనిశ్వసితకాలమథావలంబ్య
యస్యైకనిశ్వసితకాలమతావలంబ్య
ఎస్ మాతాజీ.
యస్యైకనిశ్వసితకాలమతావలంబ్య జీవంతి లోమవిలజా జగదండనాథా విష్ణుర్మహాన్ స హి వయస్య కళావిశేషో గోవిందమాదిపురుషం తమహం భజామి. థ్యాంక్ యూ ప్రభుజీ. హరే
ఇహ యస్య మాతాజీ, అది ఒకటే.
ఇహ యస్యనా మళ్ళీ
విష్ణుర్
మింగేస్తాం మాతాజీ చాలా.
అదేమవుతుందంటే స హివ హివ అని వచ్చేస్తుంది. స హివ యస్య అని వస్తుంది. అది స ఇహ యస్య. యు కెన్ డు అగైన్ మాతాజీ, నో ప్రాబ్లం.
ఇహ యస్య రైట్.
మళ్ళీ చదవండి మొత్తం.
యస్యైకనిశ్వసితకలామతా ప్రభుజీ
ప్రాక్టీస్ చేస్తారు కలాం అన్నవాళ్ళు.
ఓకే. యస్యైకనిశ్వసితకాలమతావలంబ్య జీవంతి లోమవిలజా జగదండనాథా విష్ణుర్మహాన్ సహిహ ఇహ యస్య రైట్.
స ఇహ యస్య
విష్ణుర్మహాన్ సహిహ యస్య కళావిశేషో గోవిందమాదిపురుషం తమహం భజామి. ఎస్ ప్రభు. థ్యాంక్ యూ మాతా.
థ్యాంక్ యూ మాతాజీ. Sandhya Mataji, you can do today, or you can do tomorrow if it is not possible, because anyway we are on the time.
If you want me to do, I can do, Mataji.
You can. Okay, please do, Mataji. I'll give it to you 1 second. Yeah.
Sri Brahma Samhita 5.40. यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदन्धकोटि कोटिष्वशेष वसुधादि विभूति भिन्नं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। माया हि यस्य जगदन्धशतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषयवेदवितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वमिशुद्धसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। आनन्दचिन्मयरसात्मतया मनस्सु यः प्राणिनां प्रतिफलं स्मरतामुपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयत्यजस्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। गोलोकनाम्नि निजदाम्नि तले च तस्य देवी महेश हरिदाम सुतेषु तेषु ते प्रभावनिचया विहितश्च येन गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। सृष्टिस्थितिप्रलयसाधनशक्तिरेका चायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। क्षीरं यथा दधि विकारविशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते न हि तथा पृथगस्ति हेतो यः शम्भुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। दीपार्चिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवृतहेतुसमानधर्म यस्तादृगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यः कारणार्णवजले भजतस्मै योगा निद्रामनन्तजगदन्धसरोमकूपा आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परं स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। Mataji, we are at 5.50. Can you scroll up? यश्वैकनिश्वसितकालमतावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदन्दनाथ विष्णुर्महान् स हि यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमतावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदन्दनाथ विष्णुर्महान् स हि यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। भास्वान् यतास्म सकलेषु निजेषु तेजा स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटायत्यपि तत् स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटायत्यपि तत् रावट्लेदु माताजि
स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयत्यपि तद्वदत्र
स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयत्यपि तद्वदत्र ब्रह्मा ययेष जगदन्धविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि।
माताजी 47 చేయండి మాతాజీ ఒకసారి
47
ఫస్ట్ లైన్
यः कारणनीव यः कारणनि यः कारणन
यः कारण
यः कारणनाववजले भजतस्म योगा यः कारण
ఈ కారణాలు నవ అనేది వచ్చేస్తుంది భజతస్మ అన్నారు భజతి స్మ యోగ ఓకే ఒక్కసారి చదువుతాను
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ
యః కారణార్ణవజలే భజతి స్మ యోగ
यः कारणनावजले भजति स्म योगा
కారణార్ అని చదవండి మాతాజీ ఒకసారి కారణార్
దాని మీద ఫింగర్ పెట్టండి మాతాజీ ఫోనెటిక్స్ లాగా చదవండి కారణ ఎట్లయితే విడదీయండి స్లోగా చదవండి
यः कारणार्णवजले भजति स्म योगा यः कारण ప్రాక్టీస్ ప్రభుజీ
ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి కారణార్ అనే వర్డ్ ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి ఎక్కువ కారణార్ కారణార్
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ
ఇక్కడ కింద సినానిమ్స్ లో ఉంది చూడండి కారణ అర్ణవ ఆఫ్ ద కాజల్ ఓషన్
కారణార్ కారణార్ అని చదవండి ఇంకొకటి భజతిస్మ యోగ భజతస్మి అని అంటున్నారు ఒకసారి చూసుకోండి సరే ఓకే దీపా మాతాజీ can we end the call?
Yeah, we'll end the call. Remaining we'll do tomorrow. कृपा सिंधुभ्यो एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रीला प्रपात बुक रीडिंग की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.